Jumper is a movie about David Rice, a young man with the ability to teleport instantly. Just like David, who first emptied a bank vault and achieved financial freedom, you can wake up in a penthouse in New York one morning and instantly teleport to London. You can relax in a bar, go on a date with an enthusiastic girl, and then teleport to Hawaii for some surfing. But today, with calm seas, David decides to surf in Fiji instead. By noon, he's in Egypt, sitting on the Sphinx enjoying lunch. At dusk, he dines in Rome. After dinner, David takes a luxury car for some drifting. All of this starts with David Rice's childhood. At the age of 15, he was about to give a gift to a girl he liked, Millie. However, a school bully threw it onto a frozen lake. In his attempt to retrieve the crystal ball, David accidentally fell into the icy water. The intense will to survive activated David's latent superpower. The next moment, he teleported to the library. Still shaken, he returned home. His alcoholic father often abused him, and seeing his father about to break in, David teleported back to the library. It was then that he realized he had acquired superhuman abilities. David decided to follow in his mother's footsteps and leave his cold home. But before leaving, he left the crystal ball under Millie's house. A farewell to the past. He rented a small hotel in New York and began practicing to control his newfound powers. Gradually, he discovered that as long as it was within his line of sight or a place he had been before, he could teleport. However, when he saw a picture of the Empire State Building in a book, he recalled the times he spent there with his mother when he was a child. In an instant, he found himself at the Empire State Building. With his newfound skills, the next step was to achieve financial freedom. Using the excuse of going to the bathroom, David saw the inside of a bank vault. After preparing the necessary tools back at the hotel, David achieved financial freedom. Little did he know, he had attracted the attention of the Paladins, an organization specialized in hunting down individuals with superpowers.
Why?
Because... Yeah.
You have a lead on the bank, sir.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Roland is the leader of this organization. When David returned home, Roland had been waiting for him. After understanding his intentions, David prepared to teleport away, but Roland pulled out an electric baton.
Do you answer my... Who's helping you? How'd you last this long, huh? Tell me.
Realizing he couldn't teleport, David also understood that electricity could suppress his ability. Then Roland shot a rope at David. Undeterred, David managed to teleport to a warehouse and found pliers to cut the wires. As Roland attempted to break in, he escaped to his childhood home with the money. Hearing the commotion, his father knew his son had returned. He ran upstairs, apologizing and begging David not to leave again, but words couldn't dissolve the resentment in David's heart. As his father was about to open the door, he left the house again. After David returned to his hometown, he wanted to secretly meet Millie. She was working in a bar at this time. However, as soon as he left, he was recognized by the bully Mark. Hearing the commotion, Millie also came from behind. Mark's hand reached out to Millie. David couldn't help but punch Mark, but was soon pinned to the ground again, just like in school. But he was no longer the submissive David before. In an instant, he pushed Mark into the bank vault and left him alone there. With no third-party interference, David finally felt like himself again. He had a heart-to-heart with Millie and learned that her dream was to travel the world. David extended an invitation to travel together. The next day, the two of them arrived in Rome. Under David's advances, Millie eventually fell in love with him. Then they went to the ancient Colosseum, but they missed the visiting hours. Seeing Millie's disappointed expression, David used his powers to secretly open a back door and sneak them in. Just as he was about to open the last door, he accidentally discovered another person with superpowers, Griffin. Griffin warned David that danger was imminent. Just as he finished speaking, members of the Paladins arrived. David was about to leave, but the familiar electric wires once again trapped him.
What's going on?
On the other side, Griffin seemed to handle the situation with ease. Turns out he's here to hunt the Paladins. He had been following David, waiting for the right moment. After taking out 2 members of the Paladins with ease, Griffin teleported back to his base, and David followed through the spatial rift. But thinking of Millie, whom he had left behind, he returned to the Coliseum. Just as they stepped out of the back door, the police called by the administrator apprehended them both. At the police station, David's passport was confiscated. However, when he turned around, he saw his mother. His mother tossed him the handcuff keys and told him he had only 30 seconds to escape, then left. Puzzled, David had no choice but to leave with Millie. In order to protect Millie from any harm, David broke up with her at the airport. Once Millie safely boarded the plane, David returned to Griffin's base. He wanted to learn more about the Paladins. Griffin told David that the Paladins may use a variety of means to hunt down people with superpowers, including using their relatives and friends as threats. Hearing this, David had a bad feeling. He immediately rushed back home, only to find his father brutally injured by Roland. He teleported to the hospital with his father, but the doctor said there was no hope. Grief-stricken, David went back to Griffin, asking him to join forces against Roland. Griffin agreed but said he needed to make some preparations first. He told David to go protect Millie, knowing that she would be Roland's next target. As expected, when David found Millie, members of the Paladins arrived too. David confessed to Millie about his superhuman abilities. Before the Paladins came in, he quickly escaped with Millie back to Griffin's base. Unexpectedly, this time Roland brought an even bigger weapon. He used a device to open the spatial rift where David teleported, directly entering the base. At this moment, David suddenly saw a photo of his mother. He was shocked to find out that his mother was part of the Paladins. Just as he was about to approach for a closer look, Roland spotted him. Roland used an electric net to pin David to the wall. At that moment, Griffin saved David with a flamethrower. He charged towards Roland, not giving him time to react. Griffin flashed to Tokyo again to pick a weapon. Roland panicked and fled to Millie's house. Griffin immediately followed. He retrieved the device that could open spatial rifts, trapping Roland on the other side for good. However, Roland still managed to grab Millie through the rift. To completely destroy the Paladins, Griffin activated the bomb he had prepared. He was ready to throw it to blow them up, but thinking of his beloved girlfriend still in Roland's hands, David seized the opportunity while Griffin wasn't paying attention and escaped with the bomb. When Griffin chased after him through the rift, David had already thrown the bomb into the arena. The two of them chased each other.
Bad move!
As David is about to throw the triggers into the ocean, Griffin is right behind him and knocks him out of the way. Griffin manages to retrieve the triggers, but in the next instant David again traps Griffin in a high-voltage pylon in a flashback, sealing his powers. David decided to save Millie. When he saw his beloved girlfriend bound to the wall, he rushed in without hesitation. The Paladins, who had been waiting, immediately tied him up. Faced with the threat of death, David unexpectedly moved the entire house underwater. Millie managed to break free and woke up David. He then teleported with Millie back to the library where he first teleported. Unfortunately, Roland was also brought along. He quickly moved Millie to safety. Then he picked up Roland and flashed to the Grand Canyon of Colorado, off the beaten path. At the end of the story, David finally found his mother. He resented her sudden departure but came to understand that everything she did was to protect him. In the end, David chose to let go of his grudges. After all, he now had someone in his life that he needed to protect forever.